Hi, this is Caroline from The Happy Sensitive, and in this audio I want to give you a simple tip for when your body is going to high alert mode for no good reason. And this can happen for many different reasons. One of the things is that bodies are very good at developing patterns. So, if you respond to something in a certain way habitually, then that becomes a pattern, and every time again it happens in the same way, and you respond the same way. And one of the things that can happen as a highly sensitive person is that you have developed some kind of inner big reaction to something small, either because in the past maybe you were not so good at noticing these things, and so your body tries to get your attention, like maybe, for example, there's a draft, it's cold, you need to put on a sweater, or I don't really like this drink that you're having right now, it doesn't feel good, something like that. But it can also be that you grew up in a situation where people around you were overreacting, so you've kind of adopted that from them. Or just that for a certain period of your life you had a lot of stress, and that you just kind of responded more intensely to all kinds of little things, and it's a remnant from that time. So these are just some reasons why you may be your body may be overreacting to things. But more importantly is just to notice when it happens, when your body goes into kind of like high fight or flight mode over something small, and it just seems to be getting worse. So what we want to do is we want to interrupt that automatic pattern when it's happening, and one of the ways you can do that is actually through compassion. One of the reasons why everyone, or pretty much everyone, goes into a stress reaction unnecessarily, is because as people we have a need to be heard and to be acknowledged. So our body too, when our body feels like we're not hearing what's going on, we're not listening, we're not paying attention, your body will go into high alert mode. And if you're trying to shut it up or you're trying to ignore it, it's just going to get louder and it's just going to get worse. So the best thing you can do if you're noticing that you're having a big reaction, big stress reaction to something small, is tune into your body for a moment and really sense, okay, so what is your body alerting you to? What is your body reacting to? And what is your body telling you about this? It doesn't feel good, or I'm worried about it, or I'm scared about it. It could be that you're worrying about something that is going to happen in the future, or something that's about to happen, or some kind of responsibility, and you keep fretting about it, even if you don't want to, rationally. Your body just kind of keeps reminding you of like, oh, this thing. So tune in, know what it's about, notice the reaction, and then tell your body or your mind, or whichever part feels most appropriate, say thank you for alerting me. Thank you for letting me know. And really mean it, because it is like that. It is, you're not trying to shoot the messenger, but the messenger is going to try and get your attention in bigger and more dramatic ways, unless the messenger knows that you've heard the message. So you want to let your body know, you want to let your mind know that you got the message, you heard it, and you're going to deal with it now. And if there's something practical you can do, great. If not, if it's just like, okay, I know that I am not happy here, or I know I'm not comfortable right now, and yes, I've taken note of that, and I'm putting it in perspective, and thank you for alerting me. It can be like that. Or it can be something like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was so cold. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to get a sweater, and then thank you, body, for alerting me. So thanking your body for alerting you doesn't mean that you have to take a specific action, or that you can solve everything. It just means that you take a moment to let your body know, I heard you. And if there were any specific words that you as a child, and as an adult as well, really kind of need to hear, where you feel like you're not being heard and people don't hear you and they don't really pay attention to you, whichever words you are craving, use those words to talk to your body. Use those words. say that thing to yourself. Something like, I appreciate you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. It's good to know that. Anything like that, but really make sure that you're letting the messenger know that you appreciate the warning, and you're going to put it in the right context and decide what to do with it now. So because you're taking over consciously at this point, your body can relax, your mind can relax, you know, part of you can let go because the message is consciously received. Okay, so really try that. I know it may sound a little bit loopy. Obviously, if you're in a public place, that's not such a good time to start talking to yourself out loud. But you can do this in your mind, you can do this in your head, and if you are alone, it can be helpful to say it out loud. You know, to say, thank you, body, for alerting me. And notice as well, like, what are the reactions you want to, or you're kind of wired to use. You may be kind of wired to try and shut yourself up, right? So it may take some action from you to actually be compassionate and say thank you. It may feel weird, or you may think like, oh, that's not going to work, then I'll just get louder. So these are all parts of kind of rewiring a part of like your automatic reaction to things, because a lot of the unnecessary stress that we carry around as HSPs comes from some kind of automatic reaction that's become, you know, automated, simply because at some point in our life that seemed like the logical way to deal with things, or that's how we were taught to deal with things, and then by doing that thing again and again and again in that way, it just becomes this default response. And this is a great time to notice which of those default responses are not actually helping, and to take back that control. Because one of the things that can happen is, especially if your body is freaking out, is when your body is really freaking out and like, oh no, we have a big disaster, you know, even though it's technically just a small thing, the reaction of that can feel so intense that you then start to worry about it mentally and be like, oh no, if my body is getting so upset about this, it must be a big deal. And then your mind gets upset. And then when your mind gets upset, the body is like, oh no, we're having all these worries about the situation. You know, we have to prepare for fight or flight mode, and everything just gets worse. And so you get this really kind of anxiety cycle that happens. You know, sometimes for good reason, but sometimes for no good reason at all. So it's helpful to know that you do have the power to stop that simply by becoming aware of it in the first place. And like, you know, instead of like assuming like, oh no, everyone's in a panic, my whole body is freaking out, there must be a world war going on, be like, okay, check in. What is actually happening? What actually triggered this reaction? Is it a big deal or not? And if it's actually not a big deal, then realize like, oh, this is an old pattern. My body is somehow getting triggered, and it's just kind of re-triggering itself to panic more and more for no good reason. And I can intervene at this point and let my body know, okay, I heard you, something is going on, and we're going to do something about it if possible, and I got the message, and it's okay. You can stop, you know, yelling now. You can stop alerting me about this now, because I've heard you. And that is a really kind of gentle, compassionate way to break that stress cycle that you may get caught up in. So give that a go. Really try it out, and leave a comment below the video to let me know how this is going for you.